said to me, it's a musical without dancing, which is wrong because you guys have choreography.
Who said that?
How
dare they?
I know.
How
we'll
very
talk.
dare
We
they.
can text them later.
You
guys have choreography that is so tight throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it is tight choreography.
It's not kind of like. You know,
Hold on,
I love New York.
somebody's
soundtrack.
trying to get
Somebody's
my,
mad.
You know what? That was the first horn we heard, so I think we've been
Yeah,
pacing
you're
pretty
good.
well.
I think
Yeah.
that they were honking for me. So hold on one second.
Oh my goodness.
This happens sometimes. I gotta put my sunglasses on. It's not me.
Oh, okay.
We have
Tell
tinted
me.
windows.
Yeah, no, they still knew.
Oh.
Well,
Thanks,
now
Katrina.
it's yelling.
We are dancers in the show.
You guys, it's
Uh,
the
I
tightest.
believe Miss Kelly Devine won an Olivier, as a matter of fact.
She did. She wanted an Olivier for best choreography.
choreography.
And I think it's probably great that people think that there's no dancing.
Yes,
because,
that's a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so succinct and so small and so precise and meaningful.
Yes.
That it just goes with the story. So you never see us like, oh, they're doing a huge move.
Yep.
It's narrative driven, all of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And how you guys do it, you're all in each of your characters the whole time. So there's nothing to take away or break out of. It's
Right.
completely seamless the
Right.
way you guys execute it.
Right,
so
right.
It's,
Thank you.
it's part of it's like a magic trick.
Thank you. I never ever thought someone would say my dancing is seamless.
Your dancing is completely
But I
seamless.
appreciate it. And I think Kelly
Never,
Devine is probably doing this right now.
Yeah. Definitely.
Please don't tell him that.
So, is there anything that's happened that you guys found, like, it has to happen in any show, a moment where you're like, ah, crap. Like that oops moment, that whether it was to you or another cast member.
I mean, there's been plenty of
Oh
them.
my gosh, yeah,
we
all the
laugh
time.
at each other when we screw up a line here and there, at which if you were in the audience, you wouldn't.
We would never know.
You'd never know, but because it's so precise, we kind of snicker. Let's see. There've
That's
been
also
a few,
how close we are, too.
Right,
There-
exactly.
There are some actors
Like, I'm
who
more
would really
worried-
not respond well to
Right.
people mocking their mistakes.
On stage.
Right.
But we
Right.
we don't care.
There are
It's
little
a sign
things
of
that
love.
have happened. I think some of them have been prop driven. Like I forgot the Bible one night, and
Oh.
so she,
That's
But
right,
the
yeah.
great thing is that we mime stuff all the time, so she just mimed the Bible.
Oh, lucky.
What?
I mean,
what
the trees
other-
are
There-
real.
wait,
I'm
there've
always
been
like,
some-
one of the trees are going to fall over.
Oh, please no.
No.
Oh, they're
The
safe.
turntables had some
Wood?
trouble.
They're safe. Those trees are safe.
I just can't believe they're real. When I found that
Yeah,
out, my
it's
mind
pretty
was
cool.
blown.
They're pretty cool. And they cut them down at a tree farm, and they were frozen because it was the winter.
Okay.
And then in the spring, when the trees were in our theater, some of them started to sprout.
They
Because
were
they
like,
were
I'm on
thawing.
Broadway.
It's
Now it's
spring
my
on
time.
Broadway. I'm at Spring Awakening, but in another show.
Oh my
Why am I?
goodness.
That's my tree voice.
No, that's my
Very
takeaway
interesting,
from
yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's my tree voice.
It's my tree voice, which oddly sounds like Gino's weird voice that
Yes,
he does.
that annoys Q.
Is
Yeah.
it hard to bounce from voice to voice? Because there are a couple times where you guys have characters that are back to back.
No,
Accent
it's
to
so
accent.
it's
Those
so
are the
much.
show-off events
Yeah,
that we
those
love.
are the
Yeah.
I'm an actor and I'm like, watch what I can do,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is so
I want to
funny.
see you do the nothing up my sleeve.
Yeah, that's right.
gesture as
Exactly.
you throw it out.
Watch what I can do.
Totally,
I have
yeah.
no sleeves on.
So if Broadway musical theater wasn't a part of your life, do you know where you would be or what track you'd want to be working in?
My goodness.
I know it's almost a mean question, and I apologize because you're living your
What
best
track,
life.
as far as like where would we like to be employed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Or what
professionally.
career?
Yeah, what career?
I always
What would
wanted to
you
be.
do?
I always wanted to be an anchorman. Yeah.
You could so do that.
I would
Yeah.
I would wear my dad's blazers and put like an old linoleum, had linoleum that he was working on counters with, and put that as a background, and then put the news and briefs from the Seattle Times in front of me on a piano bench and make my sister videotape.
Please
it.
tell me
God.
the videotape still exists.
We have several.
Please.
We have several of them, and the only reason I wanted to be an anchorman is because I could do this with my eyebrow.
Oh, okay. That's like 90% of the job, right?
I'm Chad Kimball. In today's top story, there seems to have been. Yeah.
Focus on the eyebrow.
Focus on the
not
eyebrow.
The story.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have just loved to
That's
see
it.
that for your tree voice
That's
whenever you had
this.
to do a piece
Oh.
on the forest.
Yeah, the tree's not that cool. Yeah.
come out
Yeah.
then.
He just came from a forest. He doesn't know what's going on.
It doesn't matter for him.
He's not cynical enough to have an eyebrow.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
There's been a
That was just
workshop.
silly.
There's been a workshop.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to be an anchorman.
I like
Yeah,
that
wow.
answer. What about you?
Well, I was actually studying to be a teacher. And got a gig and then never went back to teacher school.
Wow, I didn't know
You
that.
were going to be a teacher and
Yeah.
just like a gig felt like
Well,
came to you?
Yes, a couple of things happened. There's been a few times in my life when like the universe has unfolded as it should, and I think everybody has that. But when you're able to actually like put your finger on it and go, "This is the universe saying, little creature, go this way."
Right.
This is I was the worm, and the universe came over with a leaf and picked me up and
Yes.
put me on the other side of the road.
You got headhunted for a role.
Well, sort of. Here's what happened. I was doing. I was in Newfoundland. I was
Okay.
at Memorial University of Newfoundland doing a conjoint music education, bachelor of music degree.
Gotcha.
BMUS Ed.
People said.
And I started to do the education courses. I was at that point in the process. I think I was in my third year at that point in time, and it was in the winter semester. Or actually, it was probably the fall semester. But anyway, there had been some snow and ice, and I was walking to the building to go to class, and slipped and fractured my ankle.
Whoa.
Okay. That is
So-
that is an unfortunate.
then-
I
side
know it was
happening.
very unfortunate.
She came by and picked you up in a leaf.
Yes.
And now we're here.
I called 911. Sam showed up with a leaf.
I
It
got
was
you,
very
girl.
weird. So I, the building where the education courses happened
Yeah.
was very far away from the music building.
Okay.
So getting around on crutches was really, really difficult. And I was just fine. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to drop these courses for now, and I'll pick them up
What a heel.
when it's just too much. It's
Yeah.
winter. It's Newfoundland. I don't want to be outside with crutches. So I dropped the education courses, and then the summer of that year, I did a Miranda in the Tempest for a completely community, no money. It was actually all my friends.
Yeah.
They formed a Shakespeare company, and we did Shakespeare outside on the cliffs of Logie Bay. It was totally fun. You know, when you're like 21 and you're like, we're going to have a theater company, and we did.
Let's
and
cover something easy like Shakespeare.
right.
Right.
Here's the funny thing: is that theater company is still happening.
Oh, wow.
Different people in charge and all
Whoa.
that sort of thing, and it's a just a volunteer community theater festival
Unreal.
that does Shakespeare outdoors in Newfoundland, which is an insane idea because of our weather. And so I did that, and someone saw me in that show, being Miranda, and they were doing a educational play tour. This is way back in the day. It was a show called Fear of the Young, and it was about the AIDS crisis.
Oh, okay.
So very dark turn. But anyway, she had lost an actor who couldn't do the tour and had seen me and was like, called me literally out of the blue. Because I think I must have known her at that point in time. Maybe I didn't know her. I feel like I didn't know her. Anyway, I got that gig, but it required, because we were going on the road, that I dropped the courses that I had started.
Oh my
So I just kind
goodness.
of went, yeah, I'm just going to do that.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I did go back and finish.
Broadway was coming for you
Right,
back then.
It took a very long time showing
Still.
up, but anyway, I want to say I did finish my Bachelor of Music degree. I just didn't do the education part. I also had a little bit of an epiphany of being in the ed psych class, where I was like, I just want to sit in a circle with kids and go ta-ta, tee-tee-ta, and teach them recorder and sing songs. And they were talking about what to do if Billy comes to you and talks about what happens when he goes home. And
Oh,
it's,
dear.
it's a dark story.
You're
I was like,
I'm
oh,
gonna tour.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. Yeah,
Not yet.
so I went on a tour and had a fantastic time and met some great people. And
Treated you theater goddess. It came
it's
for
so
you.
crazy. Yeah, it really kind of did. And then just even this gig was the other time that I really think the universe intervened, because I was in Gander at the 10th anniversary when David and Irene were there doing their research. I walked into a coffee shop, not a Tim Hortons, and I think it's the only one that isn't.
Right.
At that
Okay.
point in time, it was like the only one in town
That's
that
actually
wasn't
its
Tim
name.
Hortons. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore, but another coffee shop is in its place. And I was with an actor from Toronto named Grant Tilley, to whom I owe so much, because he looked around and the only other people in that place were David and Irene. And he said, oh my gosh, I know them. They're from Toronto. So I met them. We stayed in touch. They saw me in a couple of shows in Toronto subsequently, and I was invited to submit an audition tape, and now I'm here.
This
Crazy.
is such a bizarre.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Whoa.
crazy. Yeah, that's my life. but only like twice.
Yeah, two
That's not
very
every day of my
pivotal-
life. That's like
all the time.
Two-
Whenever I walk outside, I get free muffins. It's
Right.
so crazy.
two fantastic things that happened about 25 years apart from each other.
Still
It's crazy.
unbelievable.
One of them involved coffee.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And we
It
circle
did.
back.
Yeah.
Circle back to
Ta-da.
Just saying. So, like you were saying, coffee
Yes.
between each scene,
Each scene,
every show.
every show.
There we go.
Yeah.
You should just get the espresso beans and just chew them.
How do you know I don't?
Hear that off mic one day.
I take that point.
How do you know
I take that pointed eyebrow.
Anchorman.
If I just had
Absolute
espresso
Anchorman.
There you
beans in
go.
my pockets.
You should now. You should now try and find someone who will turn Anchorman into a musical, and you can do that.
The fact that it's not one yet makes me a little sad, but that's okay.
That might be a good musical.
It's a matter of time.
Could be very funny.
Yeah, I'm not as tall as Will Ferrell though,
It doesn't matter.
and he's got a really hairy chest.
They can fix that.
It was
Yeah, right. That's not the
a
big
wig,
concern here.
chest wig.
I
chest
believe it's
wig.
called a merkin
There
of
we
some
go.
sort.
Yeah, that's not working. The merkin's not working.
Mer-
Like
Merkin's not
several
working
merkins.
Several merkins.
20 merkins stitched together.
Like poor seamstress back there sewing together 9
Gross.
merkins.
Yeah, I don't.
No one gets paid enough money to do that as a job. Can I just say that? No
How
one.
did come from a weight discussion eventually loop over
To-
to Hemmings of Merkins
In Anchorman the musical.
and Anchorman the
I
musical?
like it. I like it.
It's absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for that.
Mm.
Side Geek Out, you were a part of one of my favorite musicals of all time, which is Bat Boy.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like not a lot of people
Well,
love Bat Boy.
When you say I was a part of Bat Boy, I was a very, very small part of Bat Boy.
Still
I
in there.
I actually, it's kind
He-
of
he
relevant
just
just
fed the
because
bats.
I was in, I was filling in for, was it Gavin Creel was going on vacation, and so they needed someone to come in to be a standby for the guy who was filling in for him for 2 weeks, and so I got hired to be that guy. So that's literally my affiliation with Bat Boy. Although I did make a lot of great friends doing it. However, I was doing that when 9/11 happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so it was that's, and of course all the shows closed basically after
Yeah.
that, and as did Bat Boy. So so that's a kind of a crazy. It's a great musical, isn't it?
I really
It's
think
hilarious.
It's funny. It's dark. It
Yeah.
has a real message. If
I love how you say when you say dark, you smile.
It's like
It's
it's the
funny,
good
it's
kind
dark.
of dark. It's a dark comedy musical.
Yeah.
So if there's something you want people to know before seeing the show, what would it be? By the way, if they haven't seen Come From Away already, they're seriously missing out. No, it's a personal judgment
you
on
ha-
you now. But for the people who have
That's
not,
so dark.
it's so good and it's important. It's a great story.
I don't think that. I really don't think there's anything we can say that's that will prepare anybody for what they're about to experience. Just because it's they're kind of thrown into they're kind of forced into a catharsis, not in a bad way, but just the way we tell the story. You kind of just have to respond.
Yeah.
And so I say, just enjoy yourself
Yeah.
and allow yourself to. I know it sounds so silly, but feel your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, you would say it's probably not what you think it is.
That's fair.
Is about as much as in terms of
Yeah.
advice as I would give anybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just come to it with an open mind because it's likely not what you think you're going into.
Absolutely true. That's fair. And I butchered all the explanations when I get real excited and try and tell people what it's about.
Oh, and you're like, it's like 9/11. You're like,
It's a
"Oh."
musical.
No, but it's okay because it's a musical.
Okay, no, take that back.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Undo.
Yeah, and I've had actually some people were walking by the theater the other day, and she was saying, I don't know about seeing that, and the other lady had said to her, oh, it's nothing like you think. You think it's about 9/11, but it's really not. But it is. And I was like, that's it.
Right.
Yeah,
That's-
that's pretty
That's
much
the
it,
date
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
circumstance that created the setting
Yeah.
for the
Right,
musical,
right.
but that's not.
We call it a 9/12 musical
Oh my god!
because it's about
I love that.
events after the fact, more so than the actual event.
That's what I'm gonna start using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Another thing you guys do in the show that actually takes anyone who's old enough to remember that day is the timestamps throughout.
Yeah, because you immediately know, you immediately equate it to where you were
Yeah.
in those moments, and those are pretty powerful. I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, everybody starts to run their own movie in their mind of where they were at the time and what they were doing, and then we timestamp and remind you, oh yeah, that day, and then oh that thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're from there, so that's totally. The answer is yes. But did you, Chad, know much about the story?
No,
No.
I didn't know. When I read the script, I didn't think that it was 100%.
Oh, that was your introduction.
Yeah, I
reading
thought
the
it was like
script.
kind of like one of those where they're like loosely based on somewhat true events.
Like
But
Titanic.
The fact that it's pretty much all 99% of it is like, you know, what
Verbatim
happened.
factual information.
verbatim even,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is crazy. Like
Yeah.
they just took it from the actual tape of the interviews. Yeah, I didn't have any idea, but I cried like a baby.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
I think that's
I
beautiful.
did. And I think that one of the reasons why I think a lot of us are still in it and are New Yorkers, because we were here on the day, was that there was nothing you could do on 9/11. There was nothing you could do in the city.
Because you
The
were
only-
in the city.
Yeah, and the only thing that you could do to help was to kind of cheer on rescue workers.
Right.
And I remember I don't know why, but in college I went to this Salvation Army and I had bought this old vintage American flag and I put it on a broomstick and I just went down to the West Side Highway and I just waved it. And that's all you could really do.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
and
a wonderful
you
thing
couldn't-
to do under those circumstances.
So to be able to do this, which if I can be so bold as to say that it is healing to a lot of New Yorkers, is a huge blessing to be able to do it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there are two types of
'Cause I can
extreme.
finally do something about that day that I wasn't able to do on the day.
Right.
Which is really, really,
And the truth is, the healing is not done. It's a continuous
yeah, it totally is.
process. So
Absolutely.
you guys not only get people from Gander who are just in awe and connected in that way, but people who were here the whole time
Right,
and
right.
affected that way.
Right. And we have some really great connections with the museum and
The memorial.
the
Yeah.
memorial, and you know, and that group of people are very careful with the legacy, as they should be.
Yeah.
But they've really embraced our show, and we feel like we've become part of who they are, and we get a lot of first responders who come and say, "I didn't want to come, but I came," and it hasn't taken away any of the hurt or sorrow from that day, but it's added a good thing, which is
Oh my gosh.
you know, that's great.
It sounds like
Yeah.
maybe the highest praise you guys could.
Yeah. The highest praise was, I think, when the docents from the museum honored us. They honored us.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was tough.
What did they do?
They just came to the show and honored us with an FTNY badge, patch, and just said how appreciative they were of us. And I was like, wait, what? No,
I know. We haven't done anything. What are you talking about?
It's
Yeah.
you we're appreciative of.
Yeah.
You know, so that was just, you know, it's incredible to be able to be honored that way.
You guys,
We get people all the time who say to us, not all the time, but not infrequently, we get people who say, I was here and I haven't even really talked much about what happened since. And this was the first day that I kind of let myself relive anything by coming to the show. And so all you can do is thank those people for coming
Yeah.
and be grateful that they had a good experience. And it's because we're up there just having fun at this point, right?
Yeah.
So you have these incredible connections with people after the show who tell you really personal
Their stories.
things that have happened to them, and it just reminds you again that this is true, that it all happened, that so many people were affected by it, and as you said, continue
Yeah.
to be affected by it. It's a trauma that happened to an entire country, but particularly to this city, and by no means has everyone unpacked it and dealt with it.
But to be able to do something that honors it, and it's so hard to describe how watching it, even though it brings all these emotions and these memories and you're feeling nostalgic and all these different kinds of things, you are still not punishing yourself by watching. As an audience member, you're genuinely enjoying yourself. I laughed throughout the whole musical.
Right.
It doesn't make sense when you try and convey the message to
Right.
someone who hasn't
No.
seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
This
Just come. Just
it's
come
a
to the
full
show.
experience.
Yeah.
You have to come and see it. You really do. Trust me. Maybe we can get like some Chad barks at
Yeah.
the end of it.
That's right.
If
I
you
will
come and say it's from this,
I will bark in your face if you come to the show.
that's like
I will
highest.
let Chad bark in your face.
Or I'll do a monkey noise. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I think that's just the highest calling. maybe a tree. Guys, thank you for tolerating the stranger
Oh my
danger.
goodness,
That's
And for
awesome.
enjoying the
fantastic.
cozy Mercedes
Thank you.
Benz.
This Mercedes
So,
Benz is
this
wonderful.
car is
Yeah.
beautiful and rides like a dream.
Just
I didn't even think
luxurious.
that we had gone anywhere because
I
it
know.
rides so smoothly.
We actually have had like an oscillating scenery behind around the car
It's
the
all
whole time.
CGI.
It's
all of it.
all a prank. Guys, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Thank you for having us.
It's been another episode of Broadway Driven, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.